Today we are taking a break from our TTPD song meaning list to do a different song that was actually requested. And actually with the Eras tour over now, this song feels very appropriate because this is probably how we're all feeling right now. And of course we're talking about the song Right Where You Left Me, which you already knew because you clicked on this video. And let me just start off by saying that I do not recommend this song for karaoke. My sister and I tried it once and it was the most horrific experience because it's just a very hard song to sing. I think we severely underestimated the vocal ability needed for this. But anyway, let's get right into the lyrics of this heartbreaking song. Friends break up, friends get married, strangers get born, strangers get buried, trends change, rumors fly through new skies, but I'm right where you left me. The song begins with observations about life's inevitable changes, births, deaths, social trends, which essentially reinforces the irony of this whole song, which basically talks about Taylor being unable to change with these other things that are changing in life. She's stuck in a specific state. So even with everything happening around her, weddings, breakups, she's just emotionally frozen. She introduces the phrase, but I'm right where you left me, which she will continue to repeat throughout the song and introduces the theme of immobility. She's basically talking about being stuck. In the next part of the verse, she sings, matches burn after another, pages turn and stick to each other, wages earned and lessons learned, but I'm right where you left me. Now, this part of the verse might be very easy to overlook, but actually it's very beautifully written because it has so much depth to what she's saying. So she's kind of continuing this message of like things going on, which is why I think you could easily oversee it because it might just seem like a continuation of that first part of the verse. But in this verse, she's talking about everyday actions, burning a match, turning a page. And she's using these actions as metaphors for growth. Something that we have actually seen her do time and time again. For example, if we take the song Picture to Burn, watch me strike a match on all my wasted time. Now, there are a lot of examples of this, so I'll throw some on the screen, but I don't want to spend too much going into them. But if you look at these, the message that she keeps repeating here is all about growth. The growth that comes with these actions. So in the example of Picture to Burn, this is her way of saying that she's growing out of that relationship and saying goodbye to the time that she wasted. But in this verse, what she's doing is admitting and reflecting on her internal conflict to really grow, to get up and move on from the situation that she's in. And she does that by pairing these everyday actions with obstacles. Matches burn after another. It's almost like despite her best efforts, she keeps lighting matches and she's not getting the result that she wants. It's not committing to the flame. Pages turn and stick to each other, essentially saying how she's not able to get to her next destination. The pages are getting stuck together. So again, continuing on that theme of being frozen in time. We get to the pre-chorus and in typical Taylor fashion, she just kind of sets the scene perfectly. Help, I'm still at the restaurant, still sitting in a corner I haunt. Cross-legged in the dim light, they said, what a sad sight. So this restaurant becomes like the anchor of where she is stuck. She repeats the word still, which is a way to show time passing. People come and go and judge her, saying, what a sad sight, which adds to this sense of isolation that she has. Like others are struggling to understand the depth of her emotional paralysis. And so she feels alone in that. I swear you could hear a hairpin drop right when I felt the moment stop. Glass shattered on the white cloth, everybody moved on. So now Taylor's talking about the moment that struck her in such a strong way as to leave her like paralyzed. The phrase, I could hear a hairpin drop. It's really strong imagery about her being basically stunned into silence. A hairpin, of course, being something really small that you could drop and it will go completely unnoticed. The fact that you could hear it drop is just a metaphor for just how silent and still the room felt in that moment. And it's a metaphor for her sense of like disbelief. The glass shattering symbolizes her world falling apart, and she loops back to her loneliness, saying everybody else moved on. I stayed there, dust collected on my pinned up hair. They expected me to find somewhere, some perspective, but I sat and stared right where you left me. The imagery of dust being collected on her hair shows the time passing. People around her were not very helpful to her. They all just expected like eventually, somewhere, somehow she will find the strength to get up and move on. But unfortunately, that moment has not come. And we get to the chorus. You left me, oh, you left me no choice but to stay here forever. The repeated phrase, you left me, underscores like lingering betrayal that she feels. And the pain left her with no choice but to become still paralyzed. I've also seen people drawing parallels from this to Stay, 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 where she sings, and I love you because you have given me no choice. Now let's move on to the bridge. And I apologize so much for the lighting, but I'm in Europe and it's getting dark already at like 4, and right now it's almost 4. So I kind of missed the peak hour of, I was going to say sunlight, but I'm in the Netherlands, so we don't really have sunlight, but just of light. But let's move on to the bridge. Did you ever hear about the girl who got frozen? Time went on for everybody else. She won't know it. She's still 23, inside her fantasy, how it was supposed to be. So here the song shifts to like a third person perspective, where the narrator is basically telling her tale as if she's like a local legend. By referring to herself as the girl who got frozen, she's really acknowledging that she's paralyzed, but she's also using like a form of detachment, which suggests that she's very self-aware, that she's like in this state and that she needs to get out of it. She's stuck in the idea of how she envisioned her life was going to be when she was 23. In the next part, she continues, did you hear about the girl who lives in delusion? Breakups happen every day. You don't have to lose it. She's still 23, inside her fantasy, and you're sitting in front of me. So now again, Taylor makes it a point to emphasize that breakups happen all the time and you don't have to lose your mind over it, because it's something so common happening left and right. But when she says, and you're sitting in front of me, she kind of blurs time, blurs this image that we're in right now to move us towards that moment that everything went down. As she's replaying it in her head, the moment that she's been fixated on. At the restaurant, when I was still the one you want. Cross-legged in the dim light, everything was just right. So this is basically a prelude to like seconds before her entire world changed. Painting the scene of like a perfect date. She was still the one he wanted. A different use for the word still here, in contrast to her saying that she's still there. She again talks about being sat in the dim light, so basically giving that same imagery from how she's stuck, so you know that this is just moments before. I could feel the mascara run. You told me that you met someone. Glass shattered on the white cloth, everybody moved on. So this is like the pivotal part of the song, because up until now you don't really know exactly what caused her to get stuck in this state. But we find out that her lover admits to having cheated or to have met someone that they're more interested in pursuing. Her mascara run obviously reflects on her crying and like basically showing that she wasn't able to keep composure, and like the feelings were so strong that she just started crying and her mascara went everywhere. Then we get briefly the repetition of that main hook where she addresses being stuck in the restaurant, but with a bit more detail. I'm sure that you got a wife out there, kids and Christmas, but I'm unaware because I'm right where you left me. So she's speculating about her ex's life, like, oh, he got married, he has kids, they're celebrating Christmas and doing all these like happy things. And she's contrasting that to him being really happy and she's stuck in this isolated, like, depressive state. She continues, I caused no harm, mind my business. If our love died young, I can't bear witness, and it's been so long. If you ever think you got it wrong, I'm right where you left me. That one hurts a bit. The narrator makes justifications for her state, like, I'm not bothering anyone, like, sure, I'm being paralyzed, but I'm just minding my business. And she's basically saying that if he were ever to change his mind about her, he can always come back because she's right there where he last left her, which is honestly like a very heartbreaking thing to picture, that someone could break you down so much but you would still be willing to take them back. And we get the chorus one more time and the song comes to an end. Man, I love this song so much. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. I think this is one of my favorite ones. I feel like the first time I heard it I was almost in tears as well, because just Taylor is such a good storyteller that you can like really get into it when you're like really listening to the lyrics and letting the story drive you. It's just so fun. But did I miss anything with my analysis? Is there something else that you guys would like to add or something you don't agree with? Let me know below, because I love talking about this stuff. But as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye!